Cades Cove is one of the most visited areas in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It is a unique microcosm of the natural beauty to be seen in the park. It is also a place where you can catch a glimpse of hallmarks left by the early settlers of the region during the 100-plus years before it became part of the Smoky Mountains National Park. I will share a few historical highlights, accompanied with some personal reflections and a few elements of nostalgia from my memories of Cades Cove over the years.
I'm going to do just a quick run through Cades Cove itself. I mean, we're all this way. It seems a shame not to take advantage of that. Yeah, there's some trails up in here on what I would like to do soon or eventually. But one thing at a time, right? There we go. Yeah. Oh, Rich Mountain Loop. Yeah.
Sorry. When I stuck the phone out the window, the wind rushing past turned it into a roar, and I had to pretty much drop the volume and narrate this section. As you look out at this iconic scenery, this beautiful pastoral scene, you can almost see the community back then. It was a tight-knit community where everyone pulled together. And those close ties were not just by chance. Back then, if something happened, you couldn't just call somebody up and have things fixed and keep going. You had to rely on everybody, and they had relied on you. If somebody got sick and couldn't get their harvest in, the neighbors would come in and they would help get the harvest in and take care of it or do the planting. Because if they didn't, that person might not make it through the winter. And when they got better, they would in turn help somebody else when the need arose. They looked after each other.
The exit that went out to Sparks Lane cuts across here at the base of the park. Right here is the John Oliver cabin. We will turn in here, just take a quick look. There's some trails that come up from behind this. John Oliver, his cabin is, if you get out and go towards the back of the field, his cabin's up there. But he was one of the early residents of the cove and setting up this cove community. It is just truly picturesque here. We're gonna continue on because I need to get back, but just to give you a brief overview. You can see it there in the back. It's a little hidden by the weeds here at the moment. Way up there in the back. Now, we're going through the park at about noon, just after noon, 12:30, something like that. So it is not the best time to see wildlife. I mean, they're just like people. They're smart enough to recognize in the heat of the day, stay out of the open places where the sun can beat on you and make you hot. So they're going to be sequestered away in where it's cooler. And towards dusk, crepuscular, dawn of dusk type thing, you'll start to see a little bit more in the way of activity overall. But sometimes here, as you go through the wooded sections, you will see the odd deer or bear going across, even some ones that aren't odd. Okay, we are heading down towards, I think this is the Primitive Baptist Church, if I recall correctly. But it's a little half-mile road or something going into the middle of the loop in a wooded section. You can see it's a really nestled in the woods road, so it's two-laned technically. So we'll let this other guy go by. Yep, and sure enough, here we go. This appears to be the Primitive Baptist Church.
Church was a major center of your life in the community. You can easily imagine in the mid-1800s coming to church, walking up and sitting down in your accustomed seat, They didn't have the carpets and padded pews and comfort that we have. They were there for a reason. When life ended, you were buried at the church. As you walk through the graveyard, you can see some famous names, including John Oliver, who is credited with being the first settler of that Cades Cove, Shields, and other famous names of the cove. Sadly, you can also see how harsh life was. You will see tombstones for infants born and died on the same day. This is the Methodist Church. It was originally established sometime in the 1820s. I believe it was like a log building or something earlier, then they replaced it with this building a number of years or decades later.
Rich Mountain Road going off to the right. Heading on out of the park. Or out of Cades Cove anyway. And this one was, I'm forgetting which church that was.
Missionary Baptist Church. If I recall correctly, in 1839, the church we previously saw was called the Cades Cove Baptist Church, and there was a disagreement among the members on the subject of missions. Those who wanted to split and formed the Missionary Baptist Church. The others remained and renamed their church the Primitive Baptist Church that you saw previously.
Now, in times past, they used to have it no automobile traffic until 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings. So if you got up early, you could walk it or bike the loop without any cars. They've changed it to Wednesday now because it's just too popular, even for Saturday morning, I guess. But there have been times when you come down this road right here, people can get going so fast, and if they're not experienced riders, they can easily wreck. And we've had people wreck right into that barbed wire, and we've had to help and wait till ambulance got there. That, however, is very pretty. And even more. Just spectacular scenery, isn't it?
This is Dan Lawson's place. According to the websites I looked at, it was built around 1856 and is a good example of a original cabin made out of hewed logs that was later on modified over time, includes a modern brick chimney and even a second story that was added later on. The large covered porch was evidently used as the Cades Cove post office that Dan ran out of his own house.
It has a brick fireplace. It even has an upstairs, which all I can do is come right up here to the edge and lean and show you going upstairs. I can't go any higher. And here on the porch, little storage room for, I guess, for potatoes, or, well, probably not quite, but they'd want something a little colder, maybe drying out corn or something, or drying stuff. A little storage. But let me tell you, when they built something for storage, it was a little heavier duty than what we do nowadays, isn't it? Yeah. Holes, all that stuff, so it'd shield it from the rain, but let it dry out. Okay, it's not the best lighting to see it when it's backlit like that, but they had a rather substantial barn. I mean, it was pretty heavy duty.
This is the Tipton place. According to what I was able to find out, it looks like the Civil War veteran William Fighting Billy Tipton got a land grant in the 1820s and settled here. Later on, his relative and fellow Civil War veteran, Colonel Hamp Tipton, helped him build this big two-story cabin. And it has everything you want. It has a big corn crib, you've got a blacksmith shop, even a cantilever barn. Now, the one you see here is a replica built in 1968, but this is a really cool design. It lets you pull the wagon right up and dump out the food or hay to the animals, and the overhang lets you pull up equipment underneath it and protect it from the rain.
Okay, we have some bats here, so we don't want to disturb them.
I'm not certain, but I think this one is Aptescus fuscus, the big brown bat. This is the Carter Shields cabin. When you're driving on the Cades Cove Loop, this is the last historical building that you'll see. It's assumed to have been built around 1880 by William Sparks, the same person that Sparks Lane is named for, but it belonged to George Washington, known as Carter Shields, from 1910 to, I believe it was 1921. From what I understand, Carter was crippled during the Battle of Shiloh during the Civil War around the 1860s, and he came to retire at this cabin.
Okay, we are just ending the Cades Cove Loop, and not one deer, not one bear. It's the heat of the day in late August, so yeah, no wonder. But we did get one animal, the bat, so that counts. Well, it's a beautiful, gorgeous, scenic location with just rich with history. You can see why it would be so fascinating to come to a place like this and see tremendous nature. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pay attention here. Yep. Tremendous views of nature. Very often, lots of deer and some bear and maybe some other things that you would see there, especially if dawn or dusk. They tend to be out a little bit more. And the history is just incredible, just incredible. So you need to look it up. The history of Cades Cove, great location. And thus ends our visit to Cades Cove.
This is Graybeard for the Sylvan Reflections channel. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. If you like this video, please consider clicking the like, subscribe, and notification bell.